Hi everybody, so glad to be back with you again after our break for Christmas. I thoroughly enjoyed the series Windows into Christmas as we emphasized it being about the deity of Christ and not just the infancy of Christ. And so it was a great study time. And I'm thrilled that we've begun the study of Esther, God's game plan. And we looked last weekend at how the divine chess master always wins. You have lots of questions before you that talk about this whole issue of God's providence, and I hope that you have a great time dialoguing and discussing this issue. But there's another illustration of the main point that God is calling the shots that I just didn't have time to get to. It's about the Babylonian king by the name of Nebuchadnezzar. We know from Daniel chapter 4 that Nebuchadnezzar was a very, very proud man. And rather than giving God glory, he thought that he was the one who had accomplished all the great things in the nation by his own strength and his own might and his own wisdom and his own providence. And the story is told for us in Daniel chapter 4 and verse 29 that Nebuchadnezzar was out walking on the roof of one of his buildings. Listen to what he says about all that he accomplished. The king reflected and said, "Is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself has built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the glory of my majesty?" Nebuchadnezzar arrogantly, "Look at what I've done. Look at what I've accomplished. I'm king of the world." Well, according to verse 31, before the words were even out of his mouth, God took on this proud and arrogant king. A voice came from heaven saying, "King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is declared, sovereignty has been removed from you, and you will be driven away from mankind, and your dwelling place will be with the beasts of the field. You will be given grass to eat like cattle. And 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows it on whomever he wishes." So Nebuchadnezzar is put down. He arrogantly shakes his fist at God and says, "Look at all that I have done." God just takes him on. And God's not afraid to take any of us on, any woman or man who arrogantly thinks that she or he is the one in control, calling all of the shots, and that God's hand is ineffective. Boy, that person is in serious trouble. Remember, Peter told us, God is opposed to the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And that's especially true with leaders and rulers over nations that forget that God is the one who is most high. And so there's so much to talk about in this really important issue. And as I mentioned, you've got lots of questions to answer and opportunities to dialogue. Our God is calling the shots. And so no matter what happens this year in 2016, let's keep our eyes focused that our God is behind the scenes. And even though we cannot always see his hand, we know that he is the one who's sovereignly and providentially in control of our nation and our very lives. So I'm thrilled that you're continuing to champion this biblical value of connecting, the principle of fellowship. I would encourage you to encourage each other. Don't be afraid this year. The Lord is with us, especially as we face all the challenges within our country. So I'm excited about this study of Esther, excited that you have the chance to be together, and Lord willing, we'll be together again next week as we look at the next passage of Scripture and be reminded again that God has a plan that he's going to carry out. So blessings on you. We'll be back next week.